Here we go. Episode 2, MVP. You know what it is.
It's been a couple weeks.
But I'll tell you again because it's only episode 2. Welcome back to Make Believe Pundits. I'm your host, Macy, the number one original Make Believe Pundit. I decided to start this podcast because I wanted to help the girls support their boyfriends in supporting the Prem. It's hard. It's a lot of weeks. But guess what, girls? We can do it. Right, babe? Good. So what are we talking about this week? Because It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while. So I think one of the first things we want to talk about is reviewing the Premier League after 21 games played. What are your thoughts on the first half of this season?
Overall, the first half of this season, decent. And I use that term in a lot of ways, but it was decent. I mean, as an Arsenal fan, obviously I'm wearing my Arsenal vest because we had a great win this week. I'm happy. We're good. Peak it. It's fine.
Yeah, we haven't addressed that. What's that?
Oh, this is my Arsenal fan gear sweater vest. Gothic A. If you need.
So we're still in like the Christmassy vibe?
No. It's winter.
Okay.
And so you could wear a sweater vest. Do you not understand?
No, I get it. It's nice.
It's nice.
Very festive.
The word isn't festive. We're not going for festive. It's blue and red. It's whatever.
Anyways.
He doesn't get it. Okay. Well,
21 games played.
Yeah.
Current standings. Liverpool after 21 games, first place.
Yeah.
Man City, after a couple games behind, they're coming back. Second place, 20 games played. Arsenal, third place, 21 games played. Aston Villa, fourth. Tottenham, fifth. West Ham, sixth. United in seventh. Thoughts on United's season so far?
United season so far?
Yeah.
Honestly, at first, I thought they were kind of just like a meme team in a sense, like almost like Chelsea. Just you meme them this year. Kind of like Liverpool last year for me, but I can't really talk about Liverpool now like that.
United and Chelsea like the nasty twins, right?
Yeah, like they just won't go away kind of thing. And it's like, just call it this year. Just call it this year. But overall, I think United are starting to get the groove in a sense. I feel like they're gonna be fair contenders for trying to be top of the table the second half. I feel like they're slowly getting momentum.
Well, let me remind you of the last couple of games that they played. So the last Premier League game they played was Sunday, January 14th against Tottenham, where the game ended 2-2 after leading from Erasmus Højlund's goal in the third minute.
Right.
Richarlison equalized. Rashford then put him in the lead, but they weren't able to maintain the lead, and Benacer scored in the 46th minute to level Spurs. And as things stand, they sit in seventh. Yeah,
they sit in seventh, but weren't they lower previously? And if this was, this is now the second half of the season, that last game. So if this were the first half of the season, I feel like Spurs would have been a 2-0 game.
Well, before that, they lost to Nottingham Forest 2-1.
Listen.
And then before that, they won against Aston Villa 3-2 and lost to West Ham 2-0.
Okay, and a lot of teams have struggled against Aston Villa. So again, I think that they are trying to get into their groove. I think management, we don't really know what's going on behind management, so I can't speak on it. It seems like there's a lot of torn views on that. And I think that's probably seeping into the locker room as well, right? So I think there's a lot going on there, and we can't really speak to that because we don't really know what's going on. But it definitely hinders the players' motivation if it's going to be constantly memed, like I said. But I feel like second half they're trying. In the first half, I didn't think they were trying at all, to be totally honest. I think their captain shouldn't be captain, to be honest as well. But this is my podcast, so I can say what I want. Yeah, so I don't think he should be captain. I think if they maybe had a change in captaincy, maybe that would turn around too. Yeah.
What do you think about Rasmus Højlund only scoring a handful of goals?
I mean, I said I wanted to
games?
do a whole episode about great value players, and he's one of them.
Well, he doesn't really serve any value to the team.
No, great value Walmart brand players. He's the knockoff Holland.
Oh, he's the great value Holland.
He's the great value Holland.
Okay,
Do you know what I mean?
I guess. Makes sense.
I think United thought that this kid was going to be their answer to their prayers. How old is he?
I think he's 21.
He's still really young, too, so it's really not fair. And this is his first season in the Prem.
First season, he's 20 years old. He's going to be 21 in February. He's had 16 games for United in the Premier League with 2 goals and 1
2 goals,
assist.
yeah.
So, the saving grace for this kid is in the Champions League, he's been cooking it.
Yeah, that's true. That's totally true.
5 goals in 6 games.
So I think time will tell on him. Where did he like grow up? Like where did he play growing up?
He played in, he's from Denmark. So he played for, I think,
Like
at a
one of
youth
their youth
level.
levels?
He played for Copenhagen,
Okay.
FC Copenhagen.
Time will tell. Time will tell with him. For now, he's the great value Holland, not the answer to United prayers in the Prem right now. But I think he needs time. I think we've let a lot of players in a lot of these teams in the Prem, especially the top 6 right now. We've been patient with him, and I think a lot of people haven't been patient with this kid enough. So give him some more time. We'll see.
All right, so in 7th place we have West Ham United, which have really turned their luck around when you compare the start of their season to now. A lot of people were thinking that David Moyes was going to get sacked, that he wasn't good enough. They let go of their star player in Declan Rice,
Right.
moved to Arsenal in the summer, and then, there wasn't really much expectation out of this team, but slowly and surely they have been creeping up the table, and they are, after 21 games played, 6th in the Premier League.
So I think that's something that I wanted to bring up as well, considering I'm not a big West Ham girl at all. I often forget them, but I do think that
Or rather, confuse them.
confuse
with Aston
them
Villa.
with Aston Villa. I think many people do. I'm still waiting to hear back. I think that they are in a good place to finish in the top 6. I think we'll see them in the top 6. I think that they have, if you compare them to some other teams who are slightly higher in the table, have very comparable stats in midfield and forward. So I think they're still going to hold strong. I think they're going to be consistent, which I think a lot of people didn't assume that they would be this year, including myself.
Yeah, so one of the most significant departures was Declan Rice in that team.
For sure.
But using that Declan Rice money for, I think, 120 mil, around there, they got Mohamed Kudus, Edison Alvarez, James Ward-Prowse,
Yeah.
Mavropanos, ex-Arsenal boy, and then...
Is he Greek?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
And they've been able to integrate into that West Ham starting 11 seamlessly, it seems like, especially Mohamed Kudus and James Ward-Prowse.
Yeah, Ward-Prowse, I think, is a good addition for them.
Yeah. So having them up there is quite surprising in my opinion, because you lose your star player and you tend to not replace that. But they seem to have been smart with where they invested their money in, and it looks pretty good for them, especially coming off the back of beating both Man United and Arsenal 2-0, back-to-back wins in a matter of a couple of days back in December. I think I agree with you. I think I see them top 6, top 7 in the table.
For sure, top 7 in the table. If Man U can kind of hold strong and get ahead, I think they'd they might pass forward, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, continue.
All right, so next we have Spurs. Spursy in it.
Yeah, Spurs, they are who they are.
5th place after 21 games played. 12 games won, 5 games lost.
Mm-hmm.
They drew with Man United, and they beat Burnley. What do you think of their season so far?
I think the season's all right. I think a lot of people didn't know what to assume. I think they came out super strong, right? I think they got a new coach. They lost Harry Kane, who was such a fixture for the team.
Yeah.
But then they brought on James Maddison, who I thought was absolutely necessary. And so I was actually pleasantly surprised by how they were playing. And I don't like to say that. Anyway. But yeah, I think when they lost Maddison, they lost some steam as well. So I think him coming back, is he back now? Is he going to be playing?
I think he's on the road to be back. I don't think he's playing yet. He's getting there.
I think when he comes back, that'll beef up the Spurs, hopefully. I mean, Son's consistent. I think he's a great player. I think people love him. I think the team loves him. The new transfer, I don't know. That's how I feel. I don't know.
You don't rate Timo Werner?
I don't really know enough about him, and the name's odd. I prefer James Maddison. But we'll see. Didn't he score a goal or assist a goal?
Yeah, I think in that 2-2 draw with Man United,
Yeah.
I think he assisted Richarlison's goal.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so he previously was at Chelsea. A lot of Chelsea fans are seeing that as a Judas moment for him to
Oh, really?
cross the line and play for Spurs. But I don't
There's
think
beef between Chelsea fans and Spurs fans like that? Or are they
Yeah,
just being dramatic? Let's be honest.
there's beef with all London clubs, Like,
No, I get it, but
But yeah, so Tottenham standing firmly in fifth place.
I have I think
3 points off of Arsenal and Aston Villa and Man City.
Yeah, I think they're going to finish in the top 6. I have them in my top 6 as well.
Okay. So moving on to Aston Villa, who are in 4th place.
West Ham or Aston Villa? No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. Aston Villa, surprised. I mean, not really surprised. I feel like they always have a consistent team. They came up.
Are you sure
Yeah, I
about
feel
that?
like the last few years they've been fairly consistent.
I mean, do you remember last season with Stevie G?
That's
what
fine.
a disaster that was.
It's fine. Look, they rebuilt so quickly. Consistent.
Well, I don't think that's. You have to give credit to Unai Emery. He came in.
Yeah.
He's changed the style of play. He's used the players he has available to him, and they have quality. They have real good players. Ollie Watkins up top.
Yeah.
Martinez, World Cup winning goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Douglas Luiz, who every single top 4 team in Premier League and around the world wants to have in their team.
Yeah.
They strengthened their forward options with Moussa Diaby.
Yeah, that was good.
Emery has revitalized Leon Bailey. Leon Bailey is a man on fire. And they reinforced their defense with Lenglet from Barcelona, had a spell at Spurs, Pau Torres from La Liga, and Diego Carlos, who was once rated as like one of the top emerging talents out of Sevilla. So,
wow.
So they have
They're
some pretty
beefy.
good players
That's a
on that
beefy
squad.
team, and I think if you look at their stats, like midfielders and like strikers who are up top, they all have at least 2 goals coming off the bench as well when they're subbed on.
Yeah.
Overall, they have a really strong team. I think they will be a threat to Arsenal for sure. I think they're a threat to everyone. I was watching what's her name, Stunt Peg. She is wonderful to watch, but I think she said it best about the first half of the season that really anyone can come in because I think the way injuries have been, and I guess transfers, I guess like new players too. But last season you were like, okay, City's up top, City's up top, City's up top. Arsenal's there, but City's up top as well. But this season, it's kind of like teams are really vying for it because they all feel that they have a chance. So I feel everyone in the top 6 is playing to max capacity. And Aston Villa is definitely one of those teams.
All right, right above them, level on points. Arsenal, third place. What do we think? Last game they played was against Crystal Palace, 5-0.
Wonderful.
Beautiful.
Really good start back. I feel it was necessary to win that way. I think during halftime or right before halftime, Robbie Mustoe said, if this was City, they would have scored a 5-0 game. They would have just kept going. And in my head, I said, that would be great for Arsenal if we did just keep going. And they did. So I think we need to have that momentum.
Well, when Crystal Palace played City in December, 2-2 draw.
Decent.
So for Arsenal to beat the same team, well, not the same team because they were missing Elise, which is their star player.
Big, yeah.
But for Arsenal to come out the gate and beat Crystal Palace 5-0 after Crystal Palace, they've put on a show when they play like a Liverpool, a Chelsea, a Man City. I think Liverpool barely got away with a victory there. I think Liverpool won 2-1.
I don't think it was a game to watch that you're like, oh my goodness, Arsenal. I think Arsenal had the ball most of the time, right? But I think there was some good moments for Crystal Palace. I don't think it was a grab me up until the end. I think they have some great players, but I think Arsenal, we needed those 2 weeks of really just remembering how to shoot the ball.
After back-to-back defeats from West Ham
For sure.
and Fulham.
That was an absolute win. That was like a must win. If we didn't win that, I think I'd feel differently, unfortunately. I mean, it's my team. You always have to rate them, but I'd feel a little different about where they might be the second half. They came out strong, so let's hope they continue coming out strong.
All right. Second place, Man City, after not playing a few games due to them being in the FIFA Club World Cup and winning it. They're back. They came back, and they're second in the table after missing a handful of games. What are your thoughts on their season so far?
I think injuries really affected their season, to be honest. I think they would be in a different place if Kevin De Bruyne wasn't out for so long. Erling Haaland has been in and out. Roger has been in and out. So I feel like they have a lot of shift in players. That being said, I loved when they were lower in the table. But I think now that they're going to have almost their full team back, we're going to see things differently. I just hope that doesn't mean that the rest of the table cowers because City's back full force.
No,
I know.
I think you're wrong there. I think having Kevin De Bruyne rejoin this team puts fear in every single one of these teams.
I said I don't want them to have that.
Oh, I thought you said that it didn't.
No.
I misunderstood.
We're going to cut that because that's not what I said. Listen. No, I think having Kevin De Bruyne back is going to change the game. Obviously, he was a huge, huge loss in the first half, and that's why it showed. That's what I was saying. And so I hope that all the other teams in the table don't cower down because he's back. I hope it's a competition still.
That's what I was saying, is that you're hoping that they're not going to cower down.
Yeah. I mean, I know
afraid.
it changes the dynamic, absolutely. And I think
what I'm saying is that Kevin De Bruyne strikes fear into every single
He strikes fear in me when he came back.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing his name on the team sheet it just makes the opposition know that they're in for a wild ride with him. He came on for a handful of minutes and passed the ball into the back of the net after not kicking a ball for 3-4 months.
Also, maybe hair transplants. Why is no one else talking about that? Literally, no one else is talking about it. It's fine.
You think he had hair transplants?
I absolutely think he had hair transplants. He's always had this short, thin hair since he was a kid. Now he's got this like long lush of hair.
Maybe him and Jack Grealish got together.
Jack Grealish has hair.
Yeah,
it's his own. He's always had long hair. It's not comparable.
They got similar vibes now.
Because KDB realized Jack Grealish is making a lot of money too.
I don't think it's about money. All right.
Anyway.
And then leading the table.
I don't want to talk about it.
your favorite team, Liverpool.
My favorite team, Liverpool.
So Liverpool is currently sitting at the top with 48 points. Man City 43, Arsenal 43, Aston Villa 43.
43. So let me say this about Liverpool. I think they deserve to be at the top of the table the way they're playing. I think every game I've watched of them, they've taken control. The last few games, early in the season, they weren't so much. But listen, they're up there for a reason. I think Mo Salah is wonderful. I think he is.
He might be injured,
and that's what I was going to say, is that now he might be injured. It might shift the dynamic a little bit for Liverpool. I think they're just consistent. That's the biggest thing, is that they're consistent. They're strong. Yeah, they're going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I think the second leg, when Arsenal sees them again and sees City again, it's going to be really tough.
I think Liverpool are one injury away from catastrophe.
Yeah, I could see that.
I can see if Salah is out for a couple of weeks, and, I think Arsenal, they play Liverpool coming up at home in February.
Yeah.
So if Salah is not there, and in the meantime, let's say a Virgil van Dijk picks up an injury, or one of their starting defense, I think Trent has an injury.
Yeah, Trent
right?
has an injury
So
now.
they've lost Robertson to an injury
Right.
on the left side. They can't afford to lose another player in defense or midfield because they have no replacements.
But
they have replacements for every single position up across the top line.
But look at their game today. They played without Mo. They played without Trent, and they dominated Bournemouth 4-0.
Yeah, no disrespect to the Bournemouth, they should be dominating
For sure.
Bournemouth
fair.
4-0 with players like Darwin Núñez and Diogo Jota
Yeah.
starting up.
I don't know.
But like I said, one injury to Konate, one injury
Yeah.
to Van Dijk, one injury to Joe Gomez, and I think Liverpool are setting themselves up to be wide open.
Who's on their bench? Who's on their bench defensively? Who do they have?
Well, from the game today when they played against Bournemouth, I mean, none of the names that I'll name defensively you'll
I
recognize.
wouldn't know.
Even the right back that played today, Bradley.
Oh, yeah, I didn't.
Connor
Was that the
Bradley.
kid that I said who looked like a little kid?
Yeah,
He looks very young.
20 years old,
Yeah.
Northern Ireland player.
Good for him, but that's tough.
But yeah, I mean, he did put in a good performance. But then again, like I said, it's Bournemouth. No
Bournemouth.
disrespect to Bournemouth. It's just that you would expect Liverpool, who have spent so much money on a Darwin Núñez, on a Jota, on a Luis Diaz, on McAllister, to
Can we talk about McAllister real quick? Like, what are your thoughts on him since his move from Brighton to Liverpool?
I think he's playing a completely different position than he's used to.
Okay. That's
think-
what I've chalked it up to.
Yeah, I think he has to accommodate the Liverpool midfield now more defensively than he's used to playing because they don't have a CDM. They lost Fabinho, and I don't think they've ever replaced him properly. And I think now he has to make that defensive contribution that he wasn't making in Brighton. He probably was, but
he
not
was
as
more
much.
offensive, definitely,
He's
at
more
Brighton.
of an offensive player.
I knew him. Like, I knew his name when he was at Brighton. He was like,
He was scoring
a
goals. He
fixture.
was assisting.
Yeah.
He was up in the final third. Making
and now
things happen.
I forget that he's on the team sometimes. It's
Yeah.
very quiet. He's very quiet, Liverpool right now for me.
But that speaks to his qualities that he
Yeah.
can slot into that position and play
Absolutely.
more defensive ball for Liverpool. But yeah, I mean, I think that's why he's going under the radar a little bit because he has to change that position to accommodate the team.
Fair. Because I think that's one question I've had about Liverpool. Listen, I think they're strong. I think it's going to be tough. But, once Arsenal gets back, maybe if we have Timber back fully as well, I hope Declan Rice isn't injured. I mean, there's still a lot of competitiveness to happen in the coming weeks. So I hope people realize that. I think people are really saying that we're going to bottle it again or we've bottled it already. It's still so early. It's still so early for anyone to say that.
Yeah, some of the fan reactions are kind of crazy. Like, you've been hearing Mikel out by these young fans, and it's just
Grow up.
they have no idea. They
Like,
have no
grow up.
experience.
Listen, I wasn't even in it in the painstaking years, but like, grow up. Have patience. Like,
Yeah, I mean, some people don't realize that Jurgen Klopp, as good as he is, has only won one single Premier League title in the last 8-9 years that he's been at Liverpool. He's been rebuilding that squad for so long, where he has taken them to the Champions League final, lost, came back the next year, won it, and then won the Premier League title with them. I mean, that takes a lot. You got to give him credit for that.
Absolutely.
But look how long it took him.
but also that's the thing is that like everyone's having patience for Klopp, and even maybe even before his wins, they have all these patience for him. But then Mikel is like, out, get him out. His first year, get him out. Like it's just like
It's too reactionary.
It's too reactionary. Like stop being so dramatic. Like honestly,
And I think it's like it has to do with a lot of what people watch and what other people say about Mikel Arteta. I mean, listen, it's his first professional gig at the top as the head coach of a club, and to be honest with you, he's doing pretty good at it.
that's what I'm saying. The Arsenal. I mean, not that they were in shambles previously, but
I
the
mean,
thing
they were
is,
pretty
they're
much.
they're in the
in the
Champions
dump.
League this year. They finished in, they were second in the league last season. Like
No one
come
expected that.
come on, grow up. Like you have to have patience. You have to be happy with where you're at. I guess people forgot where they've been. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think as a team, Arsenal is continually growing, developing the players that they have.
Agree.
When you compare it to other teams, I don't see the same level of development going on. I mean, Man City, they have their core 3-4 players that they have to rely on.
I
And
mean,
if they're gone,
Speaking, Phil Foden's young. I think he's in a good position. But have they elevated him enough yet? Because even when KDB was out, even when Holland was out, they're always like clutching to Phil Foden. And it's like, but has he had the room to grow?
I mean, with KDB being out for the amount of time he's been out for, Foden has stepped in and filled that
Well, that's what
role
I'm saying. But I just
effectively.
feel like, has he been this like, has he become one of
Well,
their core now? He should be.
I would look at Jack Grealish and ask questions about that instead and say, hey, where have you been, bud?
Well, Doku's been in, and I think he's phenomenal.
Okay, but Doku didn't cost 100 million.
I don't know why you're
Great
so
British
fixated on it. He
pounds.
didn't ask for that money. He didn't ask for that money. Someone rated him as that.
Okay, but regardless, you were spot for that amount. If this was any other
Sounds
club,
like there's some jealousy here.
Just hear me out. If this was
okay.
any other club besides Man City and Jack Grealish, let's say Jack Grealish was sold to Manchester United for 100 great British pounds.
Yeah.
Just like a certain winger named Anthony from Brazil was,
He
who
doesn't
has
have
flopped,
the wow factor.
but he has flopped
Yeah.
as well.
Yes.
The media would be crazy, but because it's a Man City, they go under the radar. And
I don't know. Do you
why
think
that
it's
is.
because it's a Man City, or do you think because he's an English guy?
Well, I think that speaks volumes to where Man City are as a big club. I don't think
Fair.
they are as big of a club as Arsenal, as Man United, as Chelsea, as Liverpool. They're not there because you can have players that are bought for 100 million
Yeah.
and they flop and nobody cares because it's Man City.
I
It
think
doesn't
that's.
have the
I think
pull.
it's very interesting. I think that's very interesting. We need to delve into Man City a little bit more. I feel like they're these like enigmas in a way, and I don't mean the playing. I mean the club in general. It's a little spicy. It's a little.
Yeah, we'll
something's
see in
over
the
there.
coming week, couple months.
Yeah.
What's going to happen with their 115 FA charges if it gets thrown out or if they actually get relegated? What happens?
I
with
mean,
that?
if Everton got a second one, and who else? Not Forest got.
I think Nottingham Forest is about to.
Come on. So anyway,
Speaks volumes to.
it's different. It's different.
Yeah.
It's different. Okay, so why don't you tell me who do you think's going to finish top 6? Realistically, since we kind of went over everything. Why don't you tell me yours first, and we'll go through it.
All right, I think I'll go from last to first.
Last to first, okay.
I think starting in 6th place, I see Man United.
Okay.
I see Man United there. I see Hoyland coming in and starting to bag the goals in that they need to win these games. Because, as bad as they have been, you can see the potential. You can see the potential and where they're going as a club. Sometimes you don't, but they have young talent. I think it was a mistake with what happened with Jadon Sancho. I think it was a mistake with what happened with Ronaldo. But
that's a whole other. That's a session.
You're in the past. We're talking about in the past. Now we have to look
Yeah.
forward into the future, and I think they will make that 6th place.
Okay, but I mean, it sounds like you just regurgitated what I said. But anyway.
I mean, you just asked me for my opinion. I'm giving it.
Yeah,
to
but
you
you had a lot of pushback. Continue, please.
All right, so that was 6th place, Man United. 5th place. Now I'm going to go for a wild card here.
Okay.
West Ham United.
Okay.
I think West Ham have a quality. I think they're not competing for anything else. They don't have any other competitions that they're looking forward to. I think they might still be in the FA Cup. So I see them finishing in that 5th spot.
Okay.
4th. Now this is where it gets tricky because you have 4 teams who can possibly win this title.
Yeah.
And I only think one team is better than all 4 of them in this aspect. But I see Aston Villa getting and retaining that 4th spot that they're in currently. I just think Unai Emery, when it comes to the second half of the season, remembering what happened at Arsenal, I mean, we were on such a high his last season there, and for some reason, it just all fell apart towards the end, and I see that happening in Aston Villa just because they have less quality than Arsenal did back then.
Yeah, but I think you also, at that point, Arsenal was dealing with a lot of personalities. I feel like Villa doesn't have that, which is good.
I mean, you don't know what happens behind the scenes per se, but when you look at what Aston Villa are competing for, I don't think they're competing to win the Premier League. I think they're competing primarily, his goal and his objective is to win that European trophy for Aston Villa that they're in.
Oh, okay.
And I think
Interesting.
Unai Emery is world class. He's as good as it gets to getting a team to the final of any European competition. And I believe Aston Villa will win that European trophy, but at sacrificing their position in the league table. So I think they will finish 4th place, which is, considering where Aston Villa were a couple years ago and a couple months before Unai Emery, it's amazing that they've made it so far in such a little amount of time. But yeah, 4th place for Aston Villa.
Okay. This is tricky for you.
3rd place, Liverpool. Liverpool.
No one's going to watch this now.
3rd place. Mark my words. Liverpool will finish 3rd place. Liverpool will finish 3rd place. You want me to say it again?
Yeah, one more time.
Just to put it out in the world, Liverpool will finish in 3rd.
Okay.
The reason for it is, like I said before, they're one injury away from catastrophe.
Yeah.
Especially in that defensive line.
Yeah.
If they lose Konate, if they lose Joe Gomez, if they lose Virgil van Dijk, their season is over.
I think that's totally fair. I think that's such a great analysis of it. Yeah.
I think people are overlooking the fact that last season they have relied so heavily on those core players that look what happened last season. They were so bad. They were so poor. They were losing games by almost double digits. And so I think that, they have quality. They have what it takes to win the league, but they won't win it this year. I don't see them winning it this season because I can see something happening to that defensive back line, and I see them losing 2-3 games in a row.
Sounds so ominous, but yeah, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wishing ill will either. I think you're just speaking facts.
Right. 2nd place.
This is real. This is real. This has to be real.
This will be real. This is real, and this is what I believe will happen.
Okay.
Man City, 2nd place. Manchester City, 2nd place. I'm putting that out there in the world. I'm putting that energy out.
Now you must tell me why.
Well, I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Arsenal beat them in the first half of the season.
You're speaking.
They are beatable.
They're beatable. Absolutely, they're beatable.
We saw a couple weeks back them almost lose to Newcastle. Actually, I think it was a week ago that they almost lost to Newcastle. Thank God for Kevin De Bruyne coming back and performing as he does. But if he wasn't there, they would have lost.
But do you think, now devil's advocate here, if Kevin started, that the game would have been that tight? Or do you think City would have went off and won that game easier?
I don't think first off I don't think Kevin De Bruyne is capable of playing a full 90 minutes of football.
Interesting.
But
Got to say it right.
But yeah, I mean, when you look back at even the Crystal Palace game in early December, 2-2 that game finished.
Yeah.
And if Crystal Palace had maybe 6 more minutes of game time to play, I could have seen Crystal Palace win that 3-2.
Yeah, I think you bring up a great point. I think they are beatable. I think Haaland alone is not the scariest person. And we've seen that so far this season. Yeah, he's been in and out. He's been flexing with injury and such, but in and out, even when he's alone, he's not where he was last year with his partner in crime. So the team is beatable.
Haaland is still yet to come back. KDB's there.
Yeah.
The over-reliance on some of these players is getting found out and exposed. If Rodri's not there, they're beatable. If KDB's not there, they're beatable. If Haaland's not there, they're beatable. And that defensive back four, they're suspect this season.
Okay. And you're number one. Tell me.
Of course. The mighty. The one and only. Arsenal.
Mish, come here. Mish. He's sleeping. The dog's sleeping. He's wearing the matching vest.
I think Arsenal can do it. And I really think so because they went out for warm training in Dubai, which I think they needed to get away from England, from the cold weather, to regroup, to get that bonding experience that they need to push themselves in the second half of the season to get to that title. And the only thing about Arsenal is everything's positive about the club. Jurriën Timber, his injury is over.
Coming back.
He's going to be back within a week or
Huge.
two, which is massive when it comes to supportive defensively or in the midfield. We've seen what he's capable of doing when Arsenal beat City in the Community Shield. He was amazing.
Yeah.
Over the summer,
only good things came out about him.
it was just incredible how he was playing and how he just integrated into the team seamlessly. It's like he's been playing here for 2-3 years,
Yeah.
you know?
I think the only thing, not to kind of shine on your light right now, but I think one thing I do need to mention is that our back line is consistent. And I feel like there's been a lot of stuff in the media saying that, oh, we're poor, we're this, we're that. I mean, aside from Saliba and aside from Gabriel, like even on the sides, we're strong, we're consistent. So I think when Timber comes back in, we'll only be stronger.
Yeah, I think one of those things, like you said, what people overlook about last season versus this season is, yes, we're not,
But it's not our back line. It's not.
It's not that it's our black line, the team is not playing as sexy as they were last season.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because you have a young squad who, at the tail end of the season before, got worn out.
I think
That
that's what it was
sexy
as well.
football,
Yeah.
that ultra attacking, that constant pace, constant pressure footy, it doesn't work.
But they did it yesterday. They did. It was nice to watch them.
After
It was smooth. It was
rejuvenated,
silky.
but it wasn't, compared to last season, it wasn't the same. It wasn't similar. The tactics are different. They're playing a lot slower.
Yeah.
They're building
Absolutely.
up play from their back so that they still have the energy to compete after 90 minutes.
I see.
That's one of those problems that they weren't able to
Lost my pencil.
It's able to do last season, which cost them the title. And so if you look at their stats, they're playing slower. They're progressing the ball slower. and it's more methodical instead of just all out attacking,
Yeah.
So there's more tactics, there's less creativity because of it, but there's more tactics on playing the ball slower.
No, I think
to
there's
get it up the field
creativity in the
slower.
tactics. It's just not on
It's not as
segment to
sexy,
segment.
yeah.
There's not as much. Yeah. I think that's totally fair.
And so Jurriën Timber comes back from injury. Arsenal get a boost because Zinchenko, as good as he is, he needs a break too. You can't
Yeah.
constantly rely on him. And
Because
have
after
him
2
there.
weeks, he had a phenomenal performance yesterday. I think that's the Zinni I've been looking for these past few games. He's gotten tired. I think that's exactly what it was. He's been so tired.
Jakub Kiwior, as good as my Polish brethren is, he's not a left back. He's
young.
he's a strong left-footed center back, which is where he thrives. We saw him come in for Gabriel yesterday, and he put on a show. He can pass the ball beautifully. He knows his defensive position, but when he's out on that left back position, he cannot play there because
He's kind of lost. He's kind of lost there.
it's just not his natural position. He's not used to it. And, the good thing is that we can play him there.
Sure,
Right?
if we need to.
If Arsenal needs to, they can.
Yeah.
That's the good part about it. The bad part about it is that he's not at the level of a Zinchenko or a Jurriën Timber.
Not yet. Definitely not yet.
Not yet.
He's just young. He's just absolutely young.
But I honestly don't think he should be there because I think he's going to be the best backup option we have
For Gabriel.
For Gabriel because we don't have one right now.
Yeah. And it got me a little worried yesterday, some of these injuries that some of these boys I think may have picked up. Nothing's been super confirmed. That makes me nervous. But I think that's a solid 6. I think that's a solid top 6. I think it's very similar to mine. Although I kind of had mine in my mind in the past few weeks, over the last week, because of, what is it called? AFCON?
Yeah, African Cup of Nations.
It swayed some things for me. So I have a top 6, but I might not be able to explain it as well as I would have been a few days ago.
All right, let's start.
So I guess I'll do 6-1 like you. So 6th for me, 6 and 5 for me are a bit muddled. I'll be honest. I think it's very hard for me to specifically say who's going to finish 5 and 6 right now, because I think some things are going to change with injuries and players coming back in. So I think between 5 and 6, I have Spurs and West Ham. I think that's who will finish 5 and 6. Don't tell me who, but they'll both be 5-6.
So one of Spurs or West Ham finishing.
Both
either
those
in
slots
fifth or
will be
sixth.
taken by either of them.
Okay.
I think they're fairly comparable in stats in who they have. I mean, offensively, I think Son is phenomenal, but I don't know if he has the support from other players around him to really finish any higher.
Yeah,
I don't.
I didn't even have Spurs in my.
You
top
didn't
6.
have Spurs in your house. And I think Spurs, to be honest, I think Spurs and West Ham are better than United this season. And I think that will hold true, in my opinion. So that's who I have. I think if Maddison comes back, I think Maddison's a great addition. I think if Maddison is back and in full force, they'll probably finish in 5th and then West Ham in 6th. That's that for me. 4th.
4th place.
I have Villa as well. I think they're consistent. I don't see them finishing in the top 3 just because I don't think they have the experience, I want to say. I think that's the word that I'm feeling when I see Villa. I think they have wonderful players.
That's fair.
But I just don't think they're going to, not that they're going to bottle it. I just don't think they're going to get there.
There's nothing to bottle.
Yeah, I just don't
It's-
think they're going to get there.
This whole notion of bottling it with Aston Villa when no one expected. Them
That's what
to
I'm
be
saying.
here
I
at
think
this
they're a
position.
pleasant surprise. I think they bring a lot of flavor to the top 6, and so that's why I'm going to keep them there. I think 4th place is totally fair, and I think that's where they will finish.
3rd.
3rd, whoo, this is the top 3. The top 3 for me, I'm making it up on the spot.
So after 21 games played, who finishes in the top 3?
Okay, so my top 3 are obviously, this is not listed.
Not in chronological.
Not a
just-
chronological, but my top 3 are Liverpool, City, and Arsenal. Okay. I don't know what to say because I think at first, if you asked me maybe a week ago, if you asked me a week ago, even me, he's discombobulated. It's hard to say. He's feeling it for me again. I think if you asked me a week ago, I probably would have said Liverpool would have finished top because I think they
So who
are that
finishes
strong.
third?
Right now, I think it's Liverpool. I think Liverpool will finish third.
So Liverpool are in first place, and you think
They'll finish third. If Mo Salah's actually injured, they're going to drop points
Fair enough.
in their games, and I think Arsenal and City will beef up enough to get points, and they just can't catch up again.
Fair enough. Second place. Arsenal or City?
This is going to hurt.
You're gonna say City, aren't you?
I'm going to say Arsenal. Because if we had to put money on it, me and you, listen,
Yeah, let's put money on it.
I back my team.
Let's put money on it. How
And-
much money are you willing to lose when Man
No, I don't want
City
money.
come
Can we
in
talk about
second?
like things?
Doesn't matter. Whatever it is.
Okay.
How much are you willing to lose when Man City come in second, not first?
When? Oh, okay. So this is absolutes for you.
I know Arsenal are going to win the league.
No, listen, in my mind, like make believe, like Arsenal are winning. But if like I'm putting money down, I think City are going to finish it.
Okay, so your top six: City,
Arsenal,
Liverpool,
Liverpool, Villa, Spurs, West Ham, or West Ham Spurs.
Okay, fair enough. So we'll see at the end of the season what happens.
Wait, don't you want to know why?
Sure.
Not really.
Not really.
I know. I don't really want to explain it
You
either.
have City winning it, so I mean, I think it's obvious why.
Why?
I think
I'm scared of Kevin De Bruyne. Yes, I'm scared of
what
him.
you're gonna say is Kevin De Bruyne is back. He's gonna get full fitness. Holland's gonna come back.
Exactly.
They're gonna have a huge threat up top. But I think what you're overlooking is the quality that they have in the rest of the midfield. I mean,
Yeah.
Bernardo Silva's there, but who else? Rodri is there.
Rodri's there, and he's
But-
back. He hasn't been in and out.
One of those three out, and they're
Yeah,
back.
but you're banking on injury now. Listen, I think with Liverpool being third is totally fair, and I agree because Mo Salah, something's up. Like something's up
Yeah, he's in Liverpool currently today because he went back
early.
to heal his injury.
Yeah.
He might be back for
He
the
might.
final if
He might
Egypt
be,
make it all
but he
the way,
might not be 100%. So I think that's a very real injury possibility.
Right. And
But now you're saying, well, if one of these guys go out, well then City's out. And I don't want Arsenal to win for that reason. I want Arsenal to win because it was a brawl match, it was a competitive season, and they all out fought for it. That's how I want Arsenal to win. I don't want them to win because Haaland was out, KDB was out, Rodri's out, and he had no one to replace him. Like that's terrible to say. So in absolutes, like in realness, I think City will come back and win it just because of that.
fair enough.
I'm not banking on injury,
Fair enough.
but I still want Arsenal to win in my head. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think we're pretty similar. I'll sleep on the couch tonight if you want me to.